the gospel and the word, and see how it relates to your life. And when you do this, you realize all the experiences you've had through the Lord and the way you can help spread the word through your own experiences. I look at myself and my journey, and I often wonder, how did I get here? How did I get to this point? To be standing in front of a church giving a sermon when 10 months ago, I wouldn't even acknowledge God. And yet here I am. I believe it's an awesome testament to God and the love of God. See, God never closes the book on you. He doesn't. He never closes the book. The Lord starts writing another chapter. And I am beyond overjoyed over the fact that the Lord has started my new chapter here at Middlesex United Methodist Church. I was asked to speak about Galatians 5, specifically the fruit of the Spirit. What is it? What is the fruit of the Spirit? Well, when I was first asked to write about it, to do a sermon about it, I spoke to my kids, and I said, yeah, Daddy's going to do a sermon on the fruit of the Spirit. Do you know what that is? And they got this little committee together, and they debated it, and they came back with the unanimous decision that the fruit of the Spirit was the apple that Adam and Eve ate in the Garden of Eden. But it wasn't. But I think that's a testament to how awesome our children's ministry is, that they have young kids, 8 years old, 9 years old, thinking that way. Now, to use the term, to segue into a term that our favorite pastor that we all know and love uses, let's unpack the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:22 says the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's the fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. See, it's the gift we all receive. We all receive this gift when we become one with Christ. When we acknowledge and accept the Lord as our Savior, we are given these gifts. And what the Lord wants us to do is to share these gifts with one another. By demonstrating this, by demonstrating the fruit of the Spirit, there should be absolutely no problem in fulfilling what it is the Lord wants us to do. And that's to love God and to love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Sounds great. Sounds simple. Sounds easy. But something happens. Something trips us up. Something gets in our way. We may do 2, maybe 4, but rarely do we use all the gifts in the fruit of the Spirit. Galatians 5:7 says, "You were running a good race. Who cut in on you from obeying the truth?" I love that saying. You were running a good race. What they're saying is you were doing so good. You were doing awesome. What happened? What knocked you off course? Well, sometimes it's friends. Sometimes it's peer pressure. Sometimes it's the office politics. Sometimes it's, I said earlier this morning, there's nothing more toxic than a break room at work with the rumors going around and, did you hear about so-and-so and hear about this, hear about that. That knocks us off course. But sometimes, you know what? We can look in the mirror. Sometimes it's that simple. Sometimes it's us. I would say actually the majority of the time it's us. I like to look at it like being on a diet. Who here in this church has ever been on a diet before? Raise your hands. Every hand should be up in this church. We're in church, people. Well, we go on this diet because we want to eat healthy. We want to bring in all the good stuff so we live a good life. We get healthy physically. And that's what the fruit of the Spirit provides. That's a healthy diet. That's a good diet. Now, same show of hands, and again, we are in church. Who's ever cheated on their diet before? Some people should put both, I'll put up both hands. Who's ever cheated on a diet before? We all have. You know why? Because it's easy. It's easy. It's easy to knock yourself off track. You can have the best intentions, but you surrender to the flesh. You cut yourself off. I know with me, when I'm getting ready for something, say like a jiu-jitsu tournament, and I have to cut weight, man, I'm serious. I pre-package my meals. Usually Sunday's my last cheat meal, then Monday I start. By Monday afternoon, that ice cream's calling my name. But I'm not giving up. Tuesday, it wins. Now, we know what the good diet is. We know what the fruit of the Spirit, what it gives us. Well, what's the bad part? Well, Galatians 5:19 tells us what the opposite of the fruit of the Spirit is. It's immorality, impurity, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, factions, envy, and drunkenness. It's the polar opposite. So, if this is the fruit of the Spirit per se, a slice of pizza would be Galatians 5:19. I look at this stuff as being the junk food of the flesh. You're doing good all day with your diet, and then something happens. Just like in life, you're doing good all day. You're exhibiting these gifts the Lord has given you, and then something happens. Someone says something you don't like, you disagree with. Somebody gives you a hard time for no reason. And what do? See, it's not the action that makes you a Christian, it's the reaction. It's how do you respond to this? How do you respond when someone's showing you hatred, jealousy, envy? Well, you got your cheat sheet right here. You got peace, you got goodness, you got faithfulness. When you cheat on your diet, when you take in that bad food, it hurts you physically. When you cheat against the fruit of the Spirit, it hurts you physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Galatians 5:9 says, a little yeast works through the whole dough. When you give in to anger and rage, you affect all those around you. When you react to the action with hatred, jealousy, you affect all those around you. We always hear the saying, it takes a village. You know, it takes a church, it takes a village, it takes a group of people to make a community great. Well, the flip side of that is, it only takes one person to ruin that village. It only takes one person start the gossip here and have it end up over there, and it ruins everybody's mood. Everybody. We like to say as Christians that it starts with us. We love to say that. We love to walk out of here and say, it starts with us. Well, you know what? Why don't we have it end with us? So when that person there is giving you a hard time, stop it. It ends there. That next domino won't fall because it ended with you. You have the power to do it. You've been given the gift to do that. I was thinking of a situation in my life, how I could relate this all together, and I think I found a good one. Like most of my stories, it involves when I was a police officer. That's where I spent the majority of my life doing. But it shows a great example of how, through nothing through me, but through the Lord, I was simply the vessel. The way the fruit of the Spirit, and by blocking out all the other junk food, all the other garbage, the positive effect you can have, not only on yourself, but so many other people. I'll try to make this quick, but I usually don't do that. When I was a police officer for about 3 years, I was about 24 years old, and where I was a police officer at, 3 years may not sound like a lot, but they're like dog years. Whereas like 1 human year is 7 dog years. Well, 1 year being in this district was like 7 years being anywhere else. I was exposed to a lot. The more you're exposed to, the bigger your wall goes up to protect you. It's just a natural thing. You kind of get hardened and cold towards the outside world. Because especially in this district, we were hunters. We were the alpha males. We were the tip of the spear. We were out there getting the bad guys, getting in the chases, making the arrests, doing all the stuff you see on TV. That's what we did. We also had a bridge, and this bridge connected us to Philadelphia. You could see, I mean, literally from here to there to Northeast Philly. Now, this bridge was different, the river is different in Philly than it is here at Susquehanna. We had big tanker ships, the ocean-going vessels would come up and down all the time to the port of Philly. So they would have to dredge it. Now, this bridge, unfortunately, a lot of people saw this bridge as being the answer to their problems. It was not unusual, it actually was very common to have people simply jump off. Well, the way it was dredged, when they jumped off, they didn't come up. They would stay there at the bottom and get knocked around like they were in a washing machine for about 2 weeks. And then anywhere from 10 days to 2 weeks, they'd pop up. They always popped up 250 yards north of the bridge or south of the bridge. And for whatever reason, they always popped up on the Jersey side. They never popped up on the Philadelphia side. So the first time I saw one of these bodies, it was a disturbing experience, and I'm not going to get into the graphic details, but as you can imagine, it wasn't pretty. And it stuck with me. By year 3, I wouldn't put down my coffee or my sandwich standing over one of these bodies. I got that hard. That body, that bloated body, had no more impact on my life than a piece of wood that washed up on the beach, a tire. I was impervious to it. So that just gives you where I was at. I was a good guy. I was a great guy. Ask my wife, I'm the best guy ever. Seriously. But I was hard. I was hardened. Well, one day we got a call, about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, for a domestic dispute. A domestic dispute is usually husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, fighting, arguing, realizing they don't love each other at the most inopportune times. So I go down there, and to my surprise, it was an older couple banging on the door. They're banging on this door, yelling, "Let us in. Let us in." Not what I expected. I walk up, like, "What's up?" The father turns and looks at me. And I might as well have been Superman to this guy. He saw me, his problems were solved, the police were there. I was going to make it better. He explains to me, my son, our son, he moved over here 2 weeks ago from Philly. The VA has put him up in this apartment. He's bipolar. He won't talk to us. Okay, how old's your son? He's 38, all right? I knock on the door. Guy yells, "What? You okay?" "Yeah." All right. "So did your son say he was going to hurt himself?" "No." "Okay. Did your son say he was going to hurt you?" "No." "Okay. Do you think your son's going to hurt anybody?" "Oh, God, no. He wouldn't hurt a fly." "All right. Well, you got to go." And the deflation in that man's eyes, I mean, it was like literally I just grabbed his heart and just ripped it out because I wasn't going to help. Well, technically, I was in the right. By law, he's over 18, and I explained this to the father. He's over 18. He's not a danger to himself. He's not a danger to you. He's not a danger to the community. The only people, technically, who are causing a problem right now are you. You're the problem. So you got to go. By this time, I've already missed several calls on my radio because I'm tied up with this couple. I should have been in and out in 30 seconds. Beat it. That's what it should have been. We're about 3 minutes in now. My sergeant pulls up. "What's the problem?" Explain the situation to him. My sergeant goes, "Dunlap, you make sure they get in that car, they get across that bridge. I don't care if you have to pay the toll." That's the amazing thing about New Jersey, too. You can come in for free, but you got to pay to leave. He's like, "Get them out of here. We are not dealing with this all day." "And no problem, Sarge, I got it." So I actually walked the couple back towards the car. And I say to them, I wish there was more I could do, but law's the law, rules the rules. Sorry. Before they pulled away, I banged on the window. The dad lowered the window. I said to him, give me your phone number. I'll come down when I can. I will check on him. I can't promise you that he's going to call you, but I can promise you I will find out at least he's alive. So they gave me the number, and they wanted more, but that's the best I could do. And it truly was. Make a long story short, for about 6 weeks, this was me and the son's conversation. What? Call your parents. No. Call your parents. No. Dude, just call your parents. Just call them. No. This goes on for 6 weeks. I call the parents, tell them, listen, he's alive. That's the best I can do. So then, the parents are having a little bit of hope. Knock on the door one time, door opens up, chain comes across. Now I can physically see the eye of the man who I've been talking to through a door for 6 weeks. Don't see him, see his eye, and I can see that there's Kentucky Fried Chicken and a box of Newports sitting on the table. So I tell him to call his parents. He says no. He slams the door in my face. This time, it's different. This time, I come and I bring some Kentucky Fried Chicken and Newports. He opens the door. He lets me in. We sit and talk for about 20 minutes. Turns out that he was an air traffic controller in the Navy. And he was bipolar. And he was hearing planes that weren't there, trying to land them. He wasn't hearing the planes that were there. That's a problem. So I would spend about 20 minutes every time I'm there. Now, you're asking, well, so you're using the fruit of the Spirit. What about, how'd you keep out the other side? The other side was my fellow police officers in the locker room. The way I was being mocked. The way I was dealing with their jealousy, their hatred, their discord. Because, see, we didn't do this. It's not what we did. We didn't do this. It came to the point, I walked in the locker room one time, and there was literally a Girl Scout recruiting poster with my face superimposed, helping an old lady across the street. If they spent half as much time fighting crime as they did doing stuff like that. But there was guys legitimately mad at me, but I didn't care. So just to wrap the story up, I go down there one time, no answer. I go down there again, no answer. Look at the bridge, say to myself, I'll see him again. I'll see him in about 10 to 14 days, 250 yards north or south of the bridge. Well, I get a call from the dispatcher for me to call the parents. They're highly upset. They need someone to talk to. We can see where this is going. Go to the station, call the parents up. The father is unconsolable. You know, we've all dealt with that person that couldn't get a word out. They're that upset. He just keeps on repeating the words, my, and crying. I can hear the mother crying in the background. Finally, I had to lose my temper, and I had to speak loudly to him, and I asked him, what is going on? And the father finally says, my son, he's home. My son's home. I take a step back. I hear the mother in the background yelling, God bless you. God bless you, Brian. I hear the son in the background yelling, I still want my Kentucky Fried Chicken. So we leave it like this. I say to them, I'm glad I could help. Hung up the phone, and that was that. So I walk away thinking, you know what? I would love to say I was just doing my job, but I wasn't doing my job as a police officer. Now, I was actually, in my district, I was doing the opposite of what we did. I wasn't being that alpha male going out there, catching the bad guys. I was helping somebody. I was doing my job as a Christian. I was using those gifts the Lord has given me. Given us. I was using those gifts. And it came out positive effect. And I kept out all the junk food. I didn't buy into the impurity, the hatred, the discord, the jealousy, the envy, the fits of rage, the selfish ambition, the factions. I didn't buy into that. And I got to tell you, in my storied law enforcement career, I've received major awards at the city, county, state, and federal level for investigations. And I stand here in front of you right now telling you that was the best thing I ever did, being a police officer. That was the best thing. I didn't get an award for it. I didn't get anything for it. The parents wrote a letter. I did get called in. My district chief said, yeah, we got this letter, good job. No plaque, no nothing. But that was the best thing I ever did, honestly. So I'm going to let you decide if this has a happy ending or not. Because I've kicked it back and forth plenty of times. About 4 months later, I get a call to call the parents. Now, I haven't talked to them in 4 months. Actually, by this point, I've totally forgotten about it. I'm back to catching the bad guys. So I call the father, and I say, hey, what's up? And the father clearly says, coldly, like a college professor giving a lecture, he says, our son is dead. I'm in disbelief. How? He was 38 years old. How? I just saw him 4 months ago. How? Well, it turns out he wasn't bipolar. Turns out he had an aneurysm, brain aneurysm, and it was creating pressure on his brain, which was creating his mood swings and his erratic behavior. And it killed him. Quickly, suddenly, like that. So my initial reaction to the parents is, what do you need? What do you need? Tell me. You need help with the funeral? I'll help you pay for it. What do you need? And they said, we don't need anything. We just want to thank you. Thank me, your son just died. But the 4 best months we ever had in our son's life, his 38 years living, the 4 best months were the last 4 months. Our son is at peace now, and so are we. God bless you. And he hung up the phone. So I've been going back and forth, and to me, honestly, after reading about the fruit of the Spirit and just thinking about everything, that had a happy ending. They were reunited. Those last memories those parents have of their child are good memories, the best memories, the top of the mountain memories. That's what they were left with. I know from my own experiences caring for my parents when they were dying, it's ugly, it's long, it's drawn out, and that's what you don't want to remember. But man, God gave them those lasting memories. So my challenge is this. Stick to your diet. Don't cheat. Don't start some things. Help end some things. Don't measure your progress by stepping on a scale. Measure your progress by looking in your heart. Thank you.